As we told you earlier, former Vice President Biden has kept his national lead over President Trump, maintaining a 10-point advantage through both parties' conventions. Biden holds a lead also in a number of battleground states, including a 6-point lead in Wisconsin. For the state of the race, we turn to CBS News Elections and Surveys Director Anthony Salvanto. He's in Westchester County, New York. Anthony, good morning.
Good morning, John. How are you?
I'm well. It's always good to see you. Let's start with my favorite question at the beginning of every one of these surveys, which is, what is the story of this race right now?
It is very much about the president. Voters tell us that they are evaluating this race based on what they have seen over the last 4 years, even more so than what they think might happen in the next 4, and even more than what they think Joe Biden might do if elected. Now, maybe that's not unusual for an incumbent president, but we also tested that directly, and that evaluation on the president, for good or for bad, is the thing that really stands out. It is also, John, very much about intensity. We have seen, especially since the conventions, voters locked in. We're approaching 9 in 10 who say their mind is made up. Good luck finding swing voters this year. We've done tens of thousands of interviews. I can assure you they are rare, but that intensity is why you will hear over the next weeks both campaigns talking about motivation, talking about turnout, because it really is about that intensity, John.
But it's important, that point about referendum, because the president in his convention tried to turn this race into a choice. And when you're a president with a low approval rating, a referendum is not good for you.
Indeed. In fact, even half of Joe Biden's voters say that this is for them about the president. And so, yes, that despite the fact that the campaign has tried to shift this to make it about what Joe Biden will do and being more prospective in that approach, so far not moving that needle, John.
Is COVID-19 still weighing the president down?
It is. It's done a couple of things. One is we talk about how you evaluate the president. Well, his argument, which we've tested, is does he get credit for stemming what could have been a worse set of fatalities, a worse outbreak? And on balance, voters are telling us no. They think the administration could have done more. They think that things could have been better had there been more planning. And the other political outcome of that, John, is that that sentiment has put in play a number of states across the country, particularly the states where the outbreak has hit hard, particularly many in the Sun Belt. That has moved those states into toss-up or lean categories as well. So it's really had the effect of expanding the map too, John.
Anthony, we've seen the president try to shift what this conversation is about in this election. He wants it to be not about COVID-19, but about violence in the cities. What do your numbers tell you about that strategy?
Okay, so we asked about the protest and each candidate, how they're speaking to it, how they're handling it. Biden comes out better on that measure, and particularly, we asked if each candidate seemed to be trying to calm the situation or maybe encourage even more tension. Well, the president, on balance, is seen as encouraging more tension, more fighting. Joe Biden's seen by more as trying to calm the situation. So that nets out towards Joe Biden, or at least not moving the needle in any negative way with regard to Biden. The other point on this, John, is the argument the president seems to be making is that voters might be worried if political violence extends into the suburbs. Well, we talk to people in the suburbs, and they tell us they're not concerned that there might be violence in their neighborhood. So that doesn't seem to be resonating. You know, I think at a broader point, a lot of folks compare this era in this respect maybe to what we saw in the late 60s and early 70s as far as protests are concerned. We should state for context, the country is different than it was then. The electorate is more diverse today. The suburbs have more diversity today, and racial attitudes have shifted. We've seen that certainly in the polling over the last few months. So that could be one reason why that attempt hasn't found a lot of resonance.
All right, Anthony, thanks as always for giving us the rundown there.